Can't you at least offer to pay Uncle back for the tires? That's so rude. Aunt's voice stabbed through my ears like a needle. My hand trembled slightly as I gripped the napkin, and the cheerful atmosphere of dinner instantly froze. I looked up and saw her sitting across from me at the table, brows knitted, eyes blazing. My cousins glanced over as well, their expressions a mix of judgment, reproach, and a kind of uncomfortable expectation. I thought he was helping me voluntarily, I replied cautiously, keeping my voice low and steady, and slammed her hand on the table. Voluntarily? That doesn't mean you can just ignore it. He spent time and money on you, and you don't even acknowledge it. Is that how you show manners in this family? I was just flustered that day. My keys were in the car, and I almost missed work, I explained, my fingers rubbing the edge of the table unconsciously. That's not an excuse, she shouted, the windows trembling slightly with the force of her voice. You should have thought about basic respect. When a family member helps you, you should at least express your intent to repay them. Cousin Jason spoke up. Bro, I think he should have at least told Uncle something. He spent time helping you, and you didn't even mention paying him back. That's not right. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. I don't have the money. My bank account is tight, barely enough for 2 weeks of expenses. I can't pay him back right away. That's not disrespect, it's just reality. Reality? Aunt laughed sarcastically. Reality is you being ungrateful. You think you can work hard outside and no one will care? At home, manners and responsibility are the minimum. I really do appreciate him changing the tires. I raised my voice slightly, refusing to back down. I never said I wasn't grateful, I just don't have the money. Aunt stood up, pointing at me. No money? So you can just ignore morality? Is this how you treat others? You know he spent hours helping you, and you can just dismiss that? Cousin Anna chimed in. Bro, you can't just sit there and say nothing. This is so disrespectful. I stood, sliding my chair back, and looked at them coldly. I'm not denying he helped me, but each of you acts like I owe some moral debt. You want me to hand over money on the spot, but I wasn't prepared. Do you understand the reality of the situation? Aunt leaned toward me, voice low. Reality? Your reality is thinking you don't have to take responsibility? Someone helps you, and you just sit there grinning? No, you need to take basic responsibility. I clenched my fists but didn't move, letting anger churn inside. Fine, I'll take responsibility. And what is responsibility? Responsibility is communication. It's expressing gratitude within your means. None of you considered what I was going through that day. Jason frowned. Bro, you're making excuses. You didn't even bring it up. I'm not making excuses, I said, my voice colder. I'm stating the facts. You're only looking at the surface, not the context. The keys were in the car, I almost got locked out, and I nearly missed work, that's the fact. Did you even consider that? Aunt slammed her chair back, eyes wide. Consider? You think we don't understand? You always do this, push all the responsibility off yourself. I exhaled deeply, scanning everyone at the table. Okay, let's get this straight. This isn't a one-sided mistake. Uncle didn't ask to borrow my car, he took it on his own, which caused trouble. The tires? I didn't ask for them to be changed, it was his choice. You accuse me of being ungrateful without even considering my situation at the time. Anna frowned. Bro, your attitude really shocks me. After all these years, you're still so stubborn. Stubborn? I sneered. No, I'm telling you that politeness can't be based on unreasonable demands. You wanted me to hand over money on the spot. That's a logical error. Aunt's face changed, her voice rising. Logical error? You think the world runs on logic? You think people will accept your explanation? Politeness and responsibility aren't logic, they're morality. I walked slowly to the window, fingers tapping the glass. Morality? Morality is based on understanding, not blind accusation. You didn't understand me, so you treated me as the enemy. Cousin Mike spoke up. Bro, you can't just stand there and talk. You have to act. I turned to him. Act? You want me to do what? Pay for the tires? I told you, I don't have the money. Each of you stands on the moral high ground, yet you haven't considered reality. Aunt suddenly lunged forward, her finger nearly poking my chest. Your attitude is provocative. I'm done with your childish behavior. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and opened them again, icy calm. Fine. If you think I'm childish, I'll show you what responsibility really means. Over the next few days, I quietly observed everyone. And kept bringing up dinner that night, emphasizing my failure to repay. My cousins mentioned the tire incident in passing, even to friends, calling me rude. I realized their mindset was the problem, not my behavior. They were trying to control me with moral pressure. I couldn't remain passive. So I devised a plan. I would use facts and logic as my weapon, letting everyone see their bias and error in front of the group. First, I organized all receipts, timelines, and photos related to the tire change. The photos showed the original tires were fine, and that Uncle had borrowed the car and replaced them himself. Even his own photos confirmed this. I compiled every image and timestamp into a detailed report. Then, I scheduled a family gathering, ostensibly to celebrate my cousin's birthday. I deliberately chose a long dinner table, arranging seats so everyone could see the documents in my hands. When Aunt arrived, she saw me holding the printed report and photos. What is this? She frowned. I replied calmly. Just some everyday records. I want everyone to see the full picture of the incident. She tried to grab the papers. I don't need to see this. You're provoking me. I kept her away and spread the documents on the table. Provoking? No, this is fact. You've been accusing me of being ungrateful. I want everyone to see reality, not just judge based on feelings. Jason peeked. Bro, are these really facts? I nodded. Yes. The photos and timeline show Uncle replaced the tires voluntarily. I didn't ask for it, and the keys were in the car. I almost couldn't get to work. These facts prove I wasn't ungrateful. And hissed. You're making excuses. Not offering to pay makes you rude. I stepped closer, pointing to the photos and timeline. Look. Every step is recorded. Uncle borrowed the car without asking, that's fact. Replacing the tires was his choice, that's fact. You accuse me of being ungrateful but ignore these facts. Anna frowned. Bro, putting this out in public will make Aunt mad. I looked at her steadily. She can be mad. What matters is that everyone sees the facts. Not feelings, not emotion. Aunt flushed. This is provocative. You actually laid out a household matter on the table. I stood firm. Provocative? No, this is education. You've used moral pressure to judge me, but today facts speak. After dinner, Aunt and Uncle sat on the couch, expressions complicated. I remained calm. I won't pay back, not because I'm ungrateful, but because it's not my obligation. Everyone must be responsible for their own actions, not push responsibility onto others. Days later, the household atmosphere shifted completely. Aunt realized her accusations weren't entirely fair. My cousins understood that my stance was reasonable, not rude. Uncle also recognized that his voluntary act didn't obligate immediate repayment. I didn't celebrate or shout. Calm, undeniable facts convinced everyone. Household order and boundaries were restored, and my rational firmness made it clear that neither family ties nor moral pressure could override reality and truth. Weeks later, Aunt approached me. I want to apologize. I was too emotional before and didn't truly understand your situation. I nodded slightly. It's okay. What matters is that we've all learned to communicate and respect facts. Jason patted my shoulder. Bro, you handled this well. I learned something. Tension slowly eased, but everyone now understood the power of facts. I executed my revenge with calm, reason, and evidence, not as retaliation, but to show that unreasonable moral pressure cannot outweigh reality.